So, can you guys name any pair of angles that we've talked about the past couple of days? 1 and 5 are corresponding. You can tell because they're both in the upper left corner. Corresponding angles are congruent. Okay, anything else besides corresponding? Got that? Okay, alternate interior angles. So that would be like 5 and 4. So those are alternate sides of the transversal, alternate sides of this line, and interior to the parallel lines. Whoops, can't spell interior. And alternate interior angles are congruent. You guys know which one? What sounded like alternate interior was alternate exterior. So exterior means outside, right? So it goes outside of the parallel lines. Alternate exterior angles are congruent. 7 and 2 and 8 and 1. And if you look at them, you can kind of tell. I don't know. You guys can tell these are like the same obtuse angle. Alternate exterior. And there's one last pair. So all of these, 1, 2, 3, yeah, consecutive.
Would it be like 3 and 5?
Yeah. Yes, consecutive interior, 3 and 5, or 4 and 6. Okay, are those congruent? No. Can you tell that they don't look the same? This is obtuse, this is acute. They are not the same angle. But they are supplementary. So, consecutive interior. That is the only pair that is supplementary out of all the ones that we listed. All the rest are congruent.
Mr. Jordan, is there a consecutive exterior?
No, I think they just list the interior because just an extra adjective to kind of describe that they're between. No, those are the only 4 pairs that they describe. You could say this. You could describe other pairs, but they didn't make a special name for any other pairs. Okay, so on the worksheet, number 1. This is just to practice naming those. I kind of wanted to start with this worksheet, but then I forgot to print it off, so here we are. Angle Y and angle X on number 1 are what kind of angles? Corresponding. They're both in the upper right corner, so number 1 is corresponding. Number 3. What do you think about 3? Davin, what do you think?
They look like
They are also corresponding. Yep, you were not wrong. They're both in the bottom right corner of their groups. Manny, number 5.
Number 5, alternate interior angle.
Correct. Alternate interior. They're on alternate sides of the transversal, and they're interior, they're inside the lines that look parallel. Alright, 7 is where they drew a lot of lines that are not actually being used for those 2 angles. So they drew like 3 parallel lines, but there's really only 2 that create the angles. So let's see if I can kind of draw this. That line's not really needed. And this line is not really needed. There and there. Okay, can you guys tell what it is even with all those lines in there? Yeah. So this line is not doing anything for us, right? So let me throw that one out. Is this line doing anything for us? No. So what do we have left? Alternate interior angles, just like number 3. Yeah. Yes. So yeah, 8's kind of the same thing. It's got extra lines. You don't need the bottom parallel line on that one. You don't need the line going from bottom left to top right. You kind of have to just see what lines they're using, but yeah. Okay. Number 9. Jackson, what kind of angles are those on number 9? They are consecutive interior, that is correct. So they're right next to each other, right at, that's kind of what consecutive means. And they're interior inside the parallel lines. Okay, Avery on 11, what kind of angles are those? And alternate exterior angles are congruent. So 11 is 110. Moses on 13, the 100 degrees and the question mark, what kind of angles are those? They're called consecutive interior, and they are supplementary. See how they don't look the same? They're not the same. But they do add up to 180. So that one is 80 degrees. Alright. Kenton on number 15, what kind of angles are those? And they are what? What do we know about alternate interior angles? Yep. Congruent. Supplementary. Alternate interior angles are congruent. You can kind of tell by looking at the picture, they're both pretty obtuse angles. Alright. Abby, do you know what 17 is? No, they're not alternate because they're on the same side of that line. And 53 is not exterior. They're both in the bottom left corner of their groups. Like, one of them's here and one of them's here. So if they're in the same spot, you know what that's called? Corresponding, yeah. So what do we know about corresponding angles? They're the same. So that one's 53. Alright, are you guys starting to get an eye for these? That's kind of what the worksheet's for, just to, and like some of these questions will be on the test. I might even pull some off this worksheet. But if we can do that, then that's going to make our book assignment much easier. That's kind of what the book assignment's about. So, let's get back into the book. I feel like 13, 15, somewhere in there. We're on 15. Okay. Oh gosh, do I want to draw that picture just for 15? No, I do not. All right. On 15, it says, okay, They're telling us which angles are like congruent or supplementary, and we're saying which lines must be parallel if that's the case. So on 15, if angle 5 and angle 15, they're basically telling us they are the same thing. They're both 2x minus 3. So if you guys see angle 5 and 15 in the picture,
Yeah.
okay, what kind of angles are those? Alternate exterior. That's part of our answer. But we also need to say if those are congruent, which they're supposed to be congruent if the lines are parallel. So if those are congruent, which lines are going to be parallel? C and D. Because those are the two lines that kind of help make up those angles. So we have to put two things. We have to put C is parallel to D, comma, what theorem did we use? And it was John said, alternate exterior, I'll just put angles. All right, on 16, looks like a bit of a trick question. What do 3x plus 50 and 130 minus 3x have in common? Well, you might think that, but if you did 180 minus 3x plus 50, you get that. Which is the other thing. So what does that tell us? 3x plus 50 and this are supplements of each other. You guys follow that? Remember, we've used the 180 minus thing. That was like Wednesday's assignment. Anyways, if there's supplements, 180 minus one of them should give you the other one. So those two angles they give us on 16 are supplementary. But what kind of angles are angles 4 and 8? Are corresponding angles supposed to be supplementary? No. So that's nothing. We don't know anything about on that one. Two tricks in one. All right. Should I draw the door? Yeah, I probably should. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You guys impressed by my alphabet skills? I like the groans of affirmation. Did I draw it right-ish? You guys still have to sing it when you guys are thinking of the alphabet?
Yeah. I can't see letters. I can't say this letter after this letter.
You can't just say M-N-O-P. It's okay.
Let's see.
All right. In the directions on this part, they say AB is perpendicular to BG. Okay, do you guys remember what this symbol means right there? Perpendicular. And what does perpendicular mean? 90-degree angles. So AB and BG are perpendicular. So that means that's 90. Now, we probably would have guessed it's 90, but really they have to tell us for us to know. But I mean, really, like any door, of course, any corner of the room, it's gonna be 90. Unless there's some bad construction going on. Let's see what else we got. Oh, CE and BG are perpendicular. CE and BG. So one of the things that I mentioned yesterday is if two lines are perpendicular to the same line, that means these two lines have to be parallel. Also kind of obvious, I guess. And angle GFC is congruent to ECA. I'm reading the directions. Angle GFC. ECA? Yeah, ECA. Okay. Do you guys know what kind of angles these are? If corresponding angles are congruent, then these lines are parallel as well. Which, okay, that's maybe what you would have guessed anyway. Obviously, they look parallel. On a door, they would be parallel. But, okay. Anyway, we can do the problem now. Number 17 is, what is the measure of angle ABE? ABE, 90. Because of the perpendicular thing, we don't have to say that part, just 90 is good enough. Uh, 19, how do you know, okay, so we actually have to use some words. How do you know that segment AB is parallel to segment CE? So, you guys remember what I said? How did I know these two were going to be parallel? Okay, because they are perpendicular. You could say something like consecutive interior angles are supplementary because 90 plus 90 is 180. But you can also just say if two lines are perpendicular to the same line, they have to be parallel. Does that make sense? If this is 90 and this is 90, then these have to be parallel. It's a theorem. I mentioned it a couple days ago, but they are perpendicular to the same line.
Would it be the same thing like on 20?
I doubt it. No, was 20 asking about these two?
F, G, and C, E, I think. Yeah.
Okay, do you remember what I said? Because corresponding angles are congruent. They have to be parallel. Might have to zoom out because I want to keep this in the picture. Name three angles congruent to angle bad. Angle BAD is congruent to. Okay, where is angle BAD at? Let's go green for a contrasting color. Angle BAD is right there. Okay, what is another angle that has to be the same as that?
FGD.
Okay, FGD, yeah. How'd you know that?
Because they both look the same.
Okay, does anybody know the reason? There are alternate interior angles between these two parallel lines. Okay, that's one of them. It said there's three altogether. Anybody see another one?
EDG.
Okay. Is your reason because they look the same too?
No, because they're corresponding.
Corresponding angles? Yeah, you can kind of cheat a little bit in geometry with this sometimes. That if they look the same, they are a lot of times. Okay, there's one left.
ACD.
ACD is right here. What's this angle have to be the same as?
DCA.
What's that called?
ADC.
ADC? it's all, ADC is also an alternate interior angle. It's using a different line. You could call it CDA. I don't know, maybe somebody said CDA. You can't call it DCA though. That would be, you go from the side to the vertex to the side like you're drawing the angle. Anyway, okay, that's all three. Okay, 23. It's a fill in the blank proof, but this one's pretty short. 23 says complete the proof of the converse of the alternate interior angle theorem. Which basically says if alternate interior angles are congruent, then the lines are parallel. So what are we trying to prove on 23? We're trying to prove that the lines are parallel. So in this picture, it would be line A is parallel to line B. Okay, what always goes on line 1? Given. So angle 2 is congruent to angle 7. We know that because they told us. Given. Line 2. So line 2, you have to look at the picture. How do we know angle 7 is congruent to angle 4? In the picture, how do we know 7 and 4 are the same? Huh? I didn't hear. Huh? Vertical angles, not a trick question. They're vertical angles. You could put vertical angle theorem, but vertical angles is enough. Okay, so if you look at what we just wrote, 2 is congruent to 7, 7 is congruent to 4.
2 is congruent to 4?
Yeah, what do we know by the transitive property? 2 is congruent, angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. Because 2 is the same as 7, 7 is the same as 4. Therefore 2 and 4 are the same. Okay. If 2 and 4 are the same, what kind of angles are 2 and 4? Corresponding angles. So if the corresponding angles are congruent, then the lines are parallel. They call that postulate. So you can use that postulate to prove lines are parallel. So line A is parallel to line B because corresponding angles are congruent. I think the book calls it the converse of the corresponding angle postulate or something like that. It's confusing. You don't need to know the name of the rule. You can just state the rule. Okay? Corresponding angles are congruent, therefore lines are parallel. The worksheet, all that's due on Monday.